as you can tell from the title, this is quite a TMI video about IBS and bowel movements and anxiety and all those sorts of things. So if you are sensitive to those things, then I suggest you don't watch this video. But if you either have any of these symptoms or know somebody that does, I hopefully can give you some information and share my experiences with IBS. So let's get started. IBS is a condition which is also called irritable bowel syndrome. That's its full name, but it's shortened to IBS. And basically what it is, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think any doctor is 100% sure on what it is, but it's like an intolerance in your gut. Certain foods, stress, your gut is really sensitive, basically, is what it is, which can cause a number of elements and side effects and symptoms. So I will give you a general idea of what kind of symptoms can be can be experienced with IBS, and then I'll give you a personal one of what I personally have. So IBS can have lots of different symptoms and show itself in different ways and different times and all those sorts of things. Generally, it can be constipation, bloating, abdominal cramps, gas, diarrhea, and some people can also experience sickness with it. Unfortunately, I have the strain of IBS which causes diarrhea and abdominal pains. So as you can tell, it's a horrible thing to have to live with, and it is incurable. Unfortunately, you cannot get rid of it. You can manage it, but sometimes you just can't, and it's just one of those things. And it has definitely turned my world upside down. I don't remember quite when I first started having these symptoms. I think I've always been quite sensitive, like my gut has always been very sensitive, but I would probably pinpoint it towards when I was 20. I'd say 2021 was when I really started feeling the effects of IBS. And even though I am overweight, when I was sort of 20, 21, I wasn't really, I was always bigger, but I wasn't really overweight. And a lot of people have this assumption that IBS is connected to people who are overweight, and that's completely untrue. A lot of people I know who have IBS are very slim, very fit, very healthy people. It can happen to men, women, children, adolescents. It can happen at any point in a person's life. You can be born with it, or you can develop it, or it can get worse. Symptoms can get worse. So basically, it's just a horrible thing to have to live with. It completely controls your life. I will get onto the anxiety side of things. But yeah, if you want to know more about IBS, then I will put some links in the description box which are more sort of, more informative and a bit more professional. But yeah, I just wanted to tell people that, this is not just like oh, I've got IBS. It's just a serious condition that really, really puts your life on hold. But yeah, I will talk now about the anxiety side and how I have anxiety, which is caused by IBS. So yeah, I started experiencing anxiety around my IBS. I say probably just before I got pregnant with Dylan, so I was about 21, 22. The anxiety, basically, to put it in layman's terms, it comes from the urgency to need to go to the toilet. When you have IBS, especially IBS with diarrhea, you can need to go to the toilet like that. You could be fine, sat there 1 minute, and the next minute you're like, I need to find a toilet, I need to find a toilet now. And that is a very scaremongering thing, especially if you're out, with your friends or anybody out on your own. It's a scaremongering thing, and I actually didn't used to leave the house without my partner Stanley for a very long time, and that was just because of that. I was afraid. What if I needed the toilet when I was out? What if I didn't know where the nearest toilet was? What if I couldn't get to the toilet? I'm sorry for TMI, but that is how it is, and it is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. especially as a young woman, I mean, I'm only 25, and to basically feel like you're incontinent, I mean, obviously I'm not incontinent, I know I have control over myself, but your body does not give you the warning that normal bodies would give you when you need to go to the toilet, basically. So that's where the anxiety has stemmed from, basically. I get anxious when I'm out because of that factor. Nothing else. I don't have a social anxiety as such. Obviously it is a social anxiety because it involves outside the house, it's not inside the house. It's how I would explain it to somebody is like a mild social, mild agoraphobia. I am afraid of leaving the house because of what might happen, not because of, I'm not afraid of leaving the house because it's leaving the house. That makes sense? I'm not sure if it makes sense, but you know, you guys can let me know if it makes sense or not. It's more the fear of the unknown of what can happen when I'm outside the house. I know if I have a really bad like bout of sickness, my toilet's right there, I know where it is, I'm safe, nobody's here to judge me or, you know what's going on. It's my house, I can, you know, do what I want. And that comes on to like the next side of things, is there's so much judge when it comes to illnesses that involve your guts and your bowels and diarrhea and poo and all those kinds of things. It's such a taboo subject to talk about, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a taboo subject. A lot of people have IBS. I don't know the statistic, and if I find it out I will like annotate it up here, but there is a heck of a lot of people suffering with this disease. I mean, and not a lot of people have the same symptoms. Some people have constipation, gas, you know, cramps, all those things, which are all horrific in their own way. But from a personal side of things, I personally think diarrhea could be the worst thing to come out of IBS. I mean, as though it sounds really naive because I've never experienced any of the other ones really, like mildly, but not like to the extent of this one. I think I could quite happily be constipated. Like obviously I wouldn't be happy about it, but I would rather flip reverse and have that than this. It's so debilitating. Like I wake up in the morning and go, right, is my stomach okay today? Can I go out today? That's basically how I base my life. And it's horrible, especially when you're a mother of such a young child. Dylan's 3, and obviously if you watch my videos you know Dylan's 3, but you know, you want to be out, you want to be out enjoying life, and especially when it's so sunny and summer holidays, you want to be out and enjoying yourself. And sometimes I feel so restricted because of this illness that I can't do anything about. There's nothing I can do. I mean, obviously I take steps to, you know, tame it, as it were. Like I know for a while if I want to go out the next day, I'm not going to go about and have a takeaway or a bunch of chocolate or fried greasy food, because they are massive triggers. Bread, pasta, anything like that are huge triggers to giving me, you know, an upset stomach, to being sick. So, you know, it's just such a tough situation, and I am actually tomorrow being tested for celiac disease, so there's a good chance that I may also have celiac disease as well as IBS, so great stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video just because I want to share, like, there's not many videos like this that are so brutally honest, you know, just telling it how it is, you know. My best friend is Imodium. We have a great friendship. But obviously it's a drug and you don't want to take a drug too often, but that is something that does really calm me. And I don't know if it's a placebo effect. When I take it, I seem to just feel like so much more relaxed, like I'm more control of myself. I don't know if it is the drugs working or if it is just the placebo effect of I've taken this now, nothing can happen. But yeah, I also, because of my IBS, I also now take medicine for anxiety, which I obviously developed through the IBS. And anybody who knew me before I had this illness would look at me in absolute shock and horror to think that I had anxiety. I was the most outgoing person. I would go out anywhere. I would go out all night. I wouldn't come home. Obviously this is before Dylan. But I was a party girl, and I would go out in the daytime and just be with my friends all day long, not worry about when I was coming home. You know, I was carefree. I'd go to college, I worked, and that's another side of things. I can't work. I mean, at the moment, it actually isn't cost effective for me to work, with Dylan only being in nursery part-time because he's 3. But once he starts school, I would love to go back to work, and you know, well, I want to train first and then go back to work, but training and work are this, you know, are the same thing in my eyes. They bring up the same level of, you know, terrified in me, because, you know, what if I was at work? I can't just go to the toilet every 5 minutes if I need to. You know, people are going to start thinking, you know, she's a bit weird. Why is she going to the toilet like 5 times? And also, you just can't do that. You know, a person who you work for, an employer, isn't going to want an employee who needs to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes, or calls in every other day, or I can't come in. It's just not going to work, unfortunately. Like, it sounds horrible and it sounds really like mean on the employer's part, but I understand. If I was employing somebody, I wouldn't want them to be off all the time, or, you know, spending half their shift in the toilet, or, you know, you wouldn't let a smoker do that. And I know, obviously, smoking is a big, you know, but it's an addiction at the end of the day, and this obviously is something that I can't stop. So it is kind of the same level, but, you know, so that stopped me doing a lot of things. Like, I wanted to volunteer. When Dylan went into nursery, I thought, you know what a perfect time for me to volunteer, you know, within an animal setting, get myself back up the ropes a little bit, get myself settled, you know, and then start my, you know, my studies. And that, unfortunately, again, that is just completely at a grind halt, because right now I can't see myself, the way my body is right now, doing that. So yeah, it is a lot to take in, and I think a lot of people don't realise the true effects of IBS, and I think it is a very brushed over subject and a very brushed over illness. A lot of people just think, oh, you know, it's IBS, you can't cure it, there's no proof that somebody has it, there's no designated symptoms that somebody has, or, you know, you could have it for a month straight and then never have it again. It's just such a crazy illness, and it's so unpredictable. I mean, obviously, if you have it chronically like I do, it is very predictable, and you kind of know when you're going to have a bad day and when you have a good day. But that is just the nature of it, and it is just horrific. I mean, if you have a gluten intolerance, at least you can stop having gluten. If you're lactose intolerant, at least you can just stop having dairy. But with IBS, there's no specific trigger. It is just you and your body, and something you could eat would just completely not agree with you. And yeah, and that brings me on to New York. As you know, I am going to New York in November, and I'm so excited. Like, so excited. It's my first time going to America. I cannot wait. But there is another side of me that is like, no, you can't go. Because I am terrified of being on that plane and having a bout of sickness. I mean, I know everyone goes, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, you're probably never going to see these people again, but it does matter. And I actually had to pay a considerable amount of money to have certain seats, which were at the back of the plane next to the toilets, and it's just 2 seats, so it's just me and my partner Stanley. There's nobody like next to us or in between us. And those are the steps that you have to take, and it sounds ridiculous, but that is it. I'm terrified. I'm terrified that when we take it off, that I'm going to need to go to the toilet and you're not allowed to get out of your seat. I don't want to have to explain to, you know, hundreds of people on the plane, oh, by the way, I have diarrhea, I need to get up and go to the toilet. You know, you just don't want that. And also the other side, security. There is no toilets in JFK before you get through security. And, you know, some people have said, oh, security can take 5 minutes, it can take 30 minutes, it can take 2 hours, 3 hours. And that terrifies me. Absolutely terrifies me, because you are not allowed past that security gate unless you have been through security. So yeah, these are all hurdles that I'm just going to have to basically take day by day. But yeah, I'm also terrified that boarding the plane in JFK, that I suddenly get bad sickness and I can't board the plane and we miss our plane and then we're stuck in JFK. So yeah, there is a massive thing that comes with IBS. A lot of people who have IBS do develop anxiety. Depends obviously on the severity of your symptoms and the type of symptoms that you have. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video so that everybody out there who has the same problem as me can understand that they are not alone. And you know, a lot of people don't talk about this, as I said, but you are not alone. So many people suffer with this. And also to anybody who has somebody in their lives who suffers, this is a good video for you to understand, because maybe this person may not want to open up and tell you exactly everything that's going on. I mean, I know personally I tell Stanley everything, and you know, we have such an open relationship, but if you know, some people don't, or some people don't feel comfortable, and you know, I can tell you basically how, you know, how they may be feeling and stuff like that. So yeah, whew, this is a long video than I wanted to be, but I just wanted to get that off my chest, and that now you kind of know like why there aren't so many days in the life as I'd like to be, and all those sorts of videos. But yeah, I am all done talking to you about my bowels now, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!